This is Rugby Merlin and welcome back to the channel. So the teams have been announced, we know who's going to play, and this has been one of the most highly anticipated matches in at least my lifetime. It's crazy really considering that the World Cup was played last year, but this is a real big one. So I've entitled this video Beef, because I think there is a bit of beef between these two sides. There has been over the last couple of seasons, and it didn't end in the World Cup. Unfortunately, it wasn't conclusive. Even though South Africa came out champions, Ireland were the only team to beat them in that tournament. So there's a lot on the line here, and Rassie, as he's prone to do, is very well aware of the meta around the game, the other things going on, and he's been playing up to it, and fair play to him. He's just built this game now into a frenzy, and I can't wait to see it. Before we get too much into that, let's have a look at the actual teams that are going to match up against each other. First of all, into the front rows, we have Ox, Bongi and Malherbe, and then Porter, Sheehan and Furlong. Now, I have a lot of respect for both of these front rows. I think they both powerhouses, absolutely fantastic players on both sides. Porter, I think, has been a machine for Ireland for a while now, and he hasn't taken a backward step in any game that I've seen him play. So I expect that to be a very fiery and very even contest. Second rows, we have Eben and Moster, and then McCarthy and Byrne. Again, like such a good contest between those two units. So much experience on both sides really. McCarthy maybe is the odd one out. I was kind of expecting James Ryan to play just to shore up the line out, which has been kind of the weakness of the Irish team and the club sides, Leinster and not so much Munster, but definitely Leinster, who Sheehan plays for. But no, McCarthy gets a nod, so he's gonna, for my money, he needs to have a big game in this match. Into the back rows, we have Kolisi, Peter Steff, and Quagga, who's a little bit of a surprise at 8. Roos didn't get a nod, but after watching his performance against Wales, I can't say I'm very surprised. I've been a big booster of Evan Roos, and I really like the way he plays the game, but he didn't set the world alight against the Welsh side. So Quagga has the start at 8, and he's up against Omani, Van der Fleer and Doris, a very well established back row, and again very equally matched, I would say. There's not a lot. Peter Steff maybe has a physicality over Van der Fleer, but Van der Fleer, again, like a lot of these Irish players, will not take a backward step, so I expect it to be a very good contest. Now into the halfbacks, Faf and Andre Pollard get the nod for South Africa. Casey's in at 9, and Crowley is at 10. And surprisingly, I did predict in my preview of the Irish squad selection that Murray would get the start, but they've gone with Casey, so I'm kind of glad of that. They've given him the keys at 9 on the biggest stage of his life, basically, and it's going to be what they call it, all bust for him. I think a lot of pressure on him, but they're going to want to keep up that tempo, and that breakdown battle is going to be immense, absolutely immense. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Into the centres, Dialende and Creel, a very well established partnership. I really do like Allende. Creel is a very solid player. Aki and Henshaw, then they opted not to go with Ringrose for the start. Maybe a good option. Maybe he's providing a little bit of cover on the bench, but Henshaw, I think, has had a great season, and I was really impressed with him in a couple of games. I watched him play for Leinster, and but I'm not sure about it. Ringrose is an out-and-out 13, so maybe he could have stretched Creel a little bit, I think. early on in the match, but Henshaw will be solid, no doubt. Into the back three, always interesting. Arensa, Willie LaRue gets another cap at 15. That guy is such a legend, like, you know, and you know, you can't help but like him. Anyway, Cheslin Colby, 14, against Lowe and Nash on the wings. But then a surprise selection for Ireland, and it's Jamie Osborne at 15. I don't think many people were expecting this because he hasn't, I think somebody quoted that he played like he had 2 starts for Leinster at 15, and that's his entire kind of career at Leinster. So very, very surprising selection. Not the Jimmy O'Brien, who plays 15, right? Jamie Osborne, who usually plays centre. So a bit of a surprise there, and you can see they're missing Keenan, Hugo, who's gone off to play sevens, and kind of rubs salt in the wound a little bit. But you know, I wish him well. I hope he has a good match. I'm sure the South Africans will test him out, and but there's a lot of pace there on the wings for the South Africans, and I wonder if the Irish can keep up. We'll have to wait and see. Onto the bench. I'm not going to go through all of the bench, but I will say that South Africa, that's where their strength is. The depth of their squad and the players they can bring on. For example, RG Steinman's on the bench. Sasha's on the bench, who's a very inexperienced but very talented player. You got Marks on the bench. It's just, you know, they have I think more to offer, and this is always going to be the case, I think, with the South Africans. So, but players like Porter and Sheehan, they can definitely last. Furlong maybe is going to have to come off, but for Ireland, not a lot of firepower on the bench. They got Baird there, Murray, Frawley, Ringrose maybe is a little bit of firepower, but again, it's so difficult to match the South Africans when it comes to like bringing on players from the bench. So that's going to be always a consideration with the South Africans, how you're going to deal with their bench. So getting into the beef then, we've had a look at the teams that are going to play on Saturday, and the beef is real. I'm sure Farrell will be fuming that Rassie named the Irish test side in the week leading up to the actual match. That's not like a done thing in rugby. And Rassie is always a rule breaker. You know what I mean? He dances to his own kind of music, and he does what he always says, like, oh, it's all in good jest, but you know, he's very aware of what he's doing. And I've even heard some Irish kind of reporters say that did Farrell kind of throw in a curveball with the fullback selection because of Rassie's announcement of the Irish side early. That is crazy, you know. They dismissed it, but to even talk about it is insane. But Rassie, the past master at psychological warfare, and I think Ireland, Farrell is no stranger to it too. They will be absolutely bursting at the seams to get at this South African side, who are the world champions. They have one warm-up game against Wales. Ireland had almost a full season of international rugby, having played the Six Nations, where they came out on top as champions, you know, having lost just that one game against England. Otherwise they would have got a Grand Slam. And you write off this Irish team at your peril, because I was one as well. I thought they would have a World Cup hangover, and then they went over to France in that first game of the Six Nations and absolutely destroyed them. And it brought on a lot of, McCarthy is one of them, brought on a lot of players and brought them through in terms of the performance levels. So it's incredible to think that most people think Ireland are going to get swept in this test series. I'm not so sure. But South Africa is world champs for a reason, and it is that depth of their squad. And they have such quality players in every position, and they have a backup too. So whether Ireland will be able to match them over the 2 test series, if it was 3 test series, you'd say South Africa definitely can, put them to bed. But I don't know. I think Ireland are going to come out firing, really. Despite the altitude, despite everything going against them, I think they will be fired up because they have something to prove going out in the quarters. And let's mention it, you know what I mean? The Leinster side, Ireland are kind of victims of their own success in terms of like their expectations are so high now. Leinster didn't win a title. Munster went out of the URC playoffs. So they're going to be wanting to prove something, and it's been kind of relevant that the Irish management have said this is Ireland, nothing to do with club, so this is a different ball game. And I think they're very aware of the like psychological baggage that some of the Irish players may have coming into this test series. But I think Ireland will be absolutely bouncing coming into the test match, the first one, and I think they will take an early lead. This is where I get into predictions, by the way, if it's not obvious. So I think they'll take an early lead. I think the scrum will go well. Ireland have always matched South Africa physically over the last couple of years, and they've had the advantage in terms of results. I think they'll do the same early on. I think Ireland will go out and establish a lead. I think Pollard will kick and keep South Africa in the match up until half-time. They'll be behind. But again, the South African bench cannot be underestimated. And I think eventually the Irish players will tire. That kind of adrenaline will die down. And then I think the stranglehold will come on. I think South Africa could score a couple of tries in the last 20, and I feel like they'll eat away at Ireland's lead, and ultimately they will snatch a victory out of the jaws of defeat. Say last 10 minutes, I'll see one of the back 3, Arendse or Colby, going over for a try, and I think that's how it'll end. So I'll say South Africa by 5 points. But Ireland will really give a good account of themselves, I feel, particularly up front. Backline, I'm not so sure, but I think they'll, as we say, put the ball up their jumper. Line out is going to be key. Scrum, I think they're solid, but so South Africa to win by 5, Ireland to lead at halftime, and let me know what you think. I feel like I'm getting like super serious now, but let me know what you think. But it's going to be a great game. I'm really excited for it, obviously, as I'm sure you all are. And please enjoy yourselves, boys. And I'll catch you for the next one.